Hey guys, Chris from Adaptation here, and in this video we're going to be going through some more PoA multiple choice questions in preparation for the July 2020 CSEC exams. If you missed the first video I did, I'm going to put a card up there and a link in the description below. And with that said, let's get into these questions. Okay, so we're going to be taking a look at question 10. It says, which of the following pairs of accounts would be considered nominal accounts? So this is a question they love to bring in quite a number of papers, and like I said, I've examined about 12 plus years worth of CSEC PoA papers, and I have created these questions based on those questions. But enough of that. Nominal. What is a nominal account? A nominal account is an account of a revenue or an expense. Basically, any account you would end up seeing in the income statement, apart from stock, is a nominal account. So revenues and expenses. So let's take a read of the options. So here, whoops, I keep clicking the wrong thing. So inventory and accounts receivable. So inventory is stock, accounts receivable is debtors. They're both assets, so that's not nominal. So by the way, those are assets. Asset accounts are classified as real accounts, but we're going to get into that a little later down. So just bear with me, right? Fixtures and furniture, those are both assets, so definitely not nominal. Here we have accounts payable and accrued expenses. Those are both liabilities. So those are not revenues or expenses. Even though it says accrued expenses, the accrued portion of an expense is a liability. Hence, it itself is not an expense. Look, salaries and rent expense. So that one is definitely, those two are definitely nominal accounts. I was pretty sure I highlighted yellow. Okay, cool. Right. So, number 11. Which of the following accounts would not be considered a nominal account? So now they're asking the opposite. We know what nominal is, revenue or expense. So which one is not going to be a nominal account? So anything that's an asset, liability, capital, drawings, provision, anything like that. So let's go. So carriage output. So carriage output is when we the company pay for delivery to customers. That's an expense, that's a nominal account. So that is not an option. Discount received. So that's when we make early repayments and we receive discount from the creditor or whoever. That is definitely a revenue, so therefore it is nominal. Fixtures and fittings, assets. That's a real account, hence not nominal. Let's just check option D. Sales. Sales is revenue, therefore it is a nominal account. So C is the answer. So it reads, which of the following sets of accounts would all be considered real accounts? So real accounts, property of any kind, assets, liabilities, and I have to double check if it's capital. I believe capital should be lumped in there. All right, so assets, mainly assets you're looking for, property of any kind. So inventory as an asset, rent expense, well, as an expense, sales as a revenue, so that one is out. Let's go again. Fixtures, yeah, as an asset, carriage in, no. Purchases, expense, so no. Option C, machinery, yeah, furniture, asset again, vehicles, all three. There you go. Let's just take a look at option D. Cash at bank, cash in hand, drawings. Cash at bank and cash in hand are assets. Drawings, that's a decrease in capital. Perhaps it's an error in the question. All right. The best answer here is C. I would go with C, but I would have to look and see if this is possibly an alternate answer. Because we know that happens in the CSEC sometimes. Sometimes they have questions that actually have errors in them. Scrolling down now, we're going to take a look at another question here. So it says, which of the following sets of accounts is transferred to the income statement? So nominal accounts, revenues, expenses, those accounts have balances that are transferred to the income statement at the end of a period. So rent, yes, rent is an expense. Land, no. And drawings, well, no. These are transferred to the balance sheet. Those are assets. So no. Capital, well, that one out one time. Debtors, nope, that's an asset. Sales, yeah, but the first two, no. Commission received, yeah. Purchases, that's an expense. Stock, well, whether it's opening or closing, both of them will be in the income statement. It's opening that is transferred to the income statement, and closing is transferred from the income statement, by the way. So C is the answer here. Let's just check the furniture, fixtures, vehicle. Those are all assets. The provision for depreciation on those would go, but that's not what they're saying here. All right. Let's take a look at number 13 now. 14, sorry. Who are the main internal users of accounting information? So main internal users. So who are some internal users? Management, customers, board of directors, shareholders. All right, so which of those do you think is the main one? I would think managers, because managers have the mandate from the board to execute the strategy. So management needs to know what's going on. So I'm seeing employees here. So employees here. Shareholders. So shareholders own the company, but they don't usually take part in the day-to-day running or execution of strategy. So they may want to know about their investment, how well it's doing, which is a valid concern, but I don't think they will be the main internal users. But let's check out the rest of the list, right? Managers. I think managers is the best answer there so far. Oops, it scrolled up. Right, and customers. Well, customers, that's not an internal user, so you can forget that one time. Okay, let's take a look at number 15. All right, so which group is least likely to use accounting information to analyze the performance of a business? Okay, so who would use the accounting information to analyze performance? We just said shareholders for sure, board of directors to supervise management, shareholders because they're investment, potential and actual investors, creditors, anybody who's lent the company money, well, creditors for things other than stock. So they didn't ask about internal or external, but they just asked which group is least likely to use the information to analyze the performance. So employees, well, employees don't usually, but I mean, it's they work for the company, so they would want to make sure the company is doing well enough. And they want to know, well, maybe I need to change jobs or whatever the case is, just in case the company isn't doing well, or is the company making a lot of profit and paying me pittance? What's the story? All right, shareholders. Shareholders get dividends, so they may also want to analyze. Managers, well, they are not least likely at all. Customers. Yeah, as customers, we don't usually analyze the financials of an organization for anything. All we want to know as customers, hey, is their product a good quality? Is it meeting one of my needs? Is it solving one of my problems? All right, great, let's buy it. We don't usually dig up any financials. So I think D is the best answer there. All right, so what is the term? Come on, man, Philip, stop it. Right. So what is the term usually used to describe the exchange of value, goods and services, exchange of money between businesses and customers? Ooh. So when customers and businesses exchange, well, goods, services, and money for said goods and services as a transaction. Let's see, barter. Well, barter is when you exchange goods and services for goods and services, but it says for money. All right, billing. Well, billing lets you know how much money you have for an entity for goods and services delivered or rendered. Transactions. Yeah, I think that might be the best answer. Let's see, D, credit transfers. Nah, that's when you transfer money, but that's not the exchange. I mean, yes, it's an exchange of value, it's a payment, right? But transactions is the best answer here. Right, that is the exchange of goods and services. Okay, let's go up and check out a few more questions. So 17, right? So a transaction is usually considered to be, all right, so I'm doing this because what they do sometimes is they ask it from different sides. So in some cases, they give you the definition and they want what is being defined. And in other cases, they give you what they want to define and ask you to pick the best definition. So that's why you're seeing some questions seeming very similar. And the thing is, even in the CSEC papers that I've examined, there are questions that are similar, and in some cases they repeated the same question in the same paper. I've seen it in the econ, in the POB, in the PoA, not so much in maths or the ad maths. All right, anyhow, sorry, let's get back to it. So a transaction is considered to be, so what did we learn just now? It's an exchange of value, right? Goods and services for money, or at least for the promise of payment. So exchanging goods and services for money. Well, yeah, that's what we just talked about, right? Let's just read the rest of the options. The exchange of value between businesses and customers. That's very similar. What's going on here? The trading of value between two or more parties. Well, all of them seem right. Well, that's why. Because option D is all of the above. All right. All right, and let's take a look at number 18. So some of the benefits of implementing accounting software in businesses are, they brought this question a few times. So it increases efficiency in the accounting process. So to increase efficiency means it happens faster. So think about it. What is faster? Writing something down in a book, having to open the book, find the page, or going in your computer, pulling up a file and typing in an entry. And on top of that, according to the software you're using, you might not even have to type in much. You could probably use like a drop-down menu or click a couple of buttons, or even these days you have voice recognition. So you might be able to speak something into maybe even your phone, and your phone connects to your computer via the cloud or whatever the case is. So yeah, I would say 1 is definitely going to be on the board there. Right, makes it easier to spot errors and irregularities. Well, I would say yes. I would say, think about it. If you had to read through books, I don't actually want to show the book, but if you had to read through books of T accounts and look for specific errors or try to spot it, I mean, that's a little daunting. You plug that in a particular accounting software or even Excel, and you put a little parameter in, something to look for, or even, yeah, you set a limit beforehand, and it'll pick up on all those things, right? So yeah, for sure. Facilitates easier and secure access and distribution of information. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you could lock up physical books in an office or whatever the case is, and with software and virtual stuff, it's accessible on any mobile device once you have your password and internet connection. So easier and secure access and distribution. Yeah, for sure. Item 4, requires extensive training of users and regular updating of software. I think it depends on the software, but yes, it can require extensive training of users, right? But even though 4 is a characteristic that can be associated, go back to the question. What is the question asking us to identify? Benefits of implementing accounting software in businesses. Do you think this is a benefit? Now, that's the thing. You see, sometimes some of these things could be subjective. And that's where my overthinking brain goes into play. I would say, well, if you keep training your users, you're keeping them up to date and they are therefore better able to do their job. And if you're updating your software, it means it's more up to date, you have the latest features, so that should be an advantage. But if you think about it from the other side of the coin, the practical side of the coin, it costs money and time to train users. And if every time you have a software update, I'm sure a lot of you, well, anybody who's watching this is watching it on a device. It may be a phone, maybe a tablet, probably a computer. All of those devices eventually have to update. And I'm sure a lot of you find those updates annoying because they keep asking you, keep putting it off, and then you put it on and something didn't update properly. So I think that what the author of these questions meant for you to interpret was that, yes, this is a hassle. We like all the benefits, but of course there are some drawbacks that this is a drawback. But like I said, even I, now that I'm reading it again after having created the question, I'm like, well, you know, if you keep training people, that could be a benefit. They're more skilled, they're more up to date, they're going to use it properly. And if you keep updating your software, you have more features, more whatever it is. But like I said, I honestly think the answer is C. All right, I think that's the one they were kind of going towards. I think this one was meant to be interpreted as a bit of a drawback. All right, cool. Let's take a look at number 90 now. So we have businesses that can benefit from the use of accounting software packages might include. Now, this is a very important question because you see, a lot of people think every business should use advanced technology. But if you're just selling lemonade at the corner for a little fundraiser, do you need to deploy an entire accounting software package for that? If you are a nuts man. Now, by the way, I'm not throwing shade on any of these occupations. Everybody's entitled to make an honest living anyhow they want, right? And I think the whole COVID-19 situation has brought into sharp relief how important certain jobs that a lot of us might consider to be menial or low paying, how important those jobs are. If the garbage men stopped picking up garbage, what would happen? It would pile up and the place would smell real nasty, right? If I went to the grocery a few times and it had people spraying down the grocery cart to make sure it was disinfected, if they didn't have those people doing that, what would happen? The virus might spread more, right? So please don't ever think that somebody's job is unimportant, right? Sorry, I don't mean to be preaching, but it's just, you know, I understand, and I hope you guys understand too, the importance of everybody's everybody's occupation and everybody's role, right? There's not to say these people cannot advance if they wanted to, but above all, are they happy? And that's their business. It's not your business, all right? Sorry, I'm watching too much stuff on YouTube. Anyhow, so like I'm saying, the the point of this, what I'm about to say here, is that some businesses would benefit more than other businesses. Other businesses, it would be too much of a hassle, too much cost. It would not make sense. Cost-benefit wise, it would just, the cost would outweigh the benefit, all right? So multinational companies, so those are companies that are in multiple nations, and they would probably need good coordination and secure access to information. So I would say yes. Restaurants probably need to keep track of, well, inventory, food stuff, and payroll. Taxi drivers. So that sounds like a sole trader, or maybe if it was a taxi corporation, I would say maybe if they're employing multiple people, yeah. But if you are just the taxi driver, if you are the taxi driver and you're providing transport, you may not benefit from an accounting system as much as another company. It may just not be as efficient as you would like it. Now, that's not to say you don't have smaller deployable software apps that you could use. Well, apps that you could use to keep track of your spending, right? And banks and other financial institutions, well, definitely financials and banks for sure. So I think 3 should be omitted. So we could eliminate B and C. A is 1 and 2, but 4 definitely needs to be there. All right, cool. All right, guys, so that's it for this particular video. If you have any questions on any of the questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And until next time, always remember, you can be anything you want to be, you can do anything you want to do if you have the correct mindset and you put in the work. Along the way, you're bound to have trouble. And if what you're doing isn't working, then you're going to have to find a different approach to it. Adapt. Because change is the only constant. Alright guys, so until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and share the love. Bye-bye.